This is KGW News at noon.
Welcome to the News at Noon. I'm Drew Carney, and we start this afternoon with a health warning from Washington County. The county's public health department says 4 people are in the hospital with Legionnaire's disease. The cases they know of so far have come from the Murray Hill area of Beaverton, but they're not sure exactly where these infections started. Washington County Public Health says Legionnaire's disease, which is a type of pneumonia, usually spreads around water, near decorative fountains or hot tubs, for example. Symptoms include muscle aches, shortness of breath, and fever, and Legionnaire's disease is also treatable with antibiotics. Our next local story involves the deadly shooting of an Uber driver in Northeast Portland late last year. Officials have connected that shooting to gang violence. And even though it happened almost a full year ago, no one's been arrested yet. So now the FBI is offering a $15,000 reward to help solve this case. The Uber driver who was shot was a 23-year-old refugee from Iraq. The FBI believes he was either an unintended or mistaken target. They also say he was shot by multiple people with roughly 70 rounds.
An excessive number of rounds, certainly not something that we ever want to see on the streets of Portland or on this, anywhere within the state of Oregon.
In addition to the $15,000 reward that the FBI is offering, Crime Stoppers of Oregon is also offering a $2,500 reward for information about this case. All right, now we're going to turn to a wild crime spree in Oregon City. Police say the suspect in this spree crashed a stolen truck and also broke into a home. Now, the homeowners helped police catch this guy, and he actually gave those homeowners a reason to laugh. Catherine Cook explains why.
The story behind these photos is intense. Clackamas County Sheriff's deputies say the truck is stolen. The driver crashed into this garage Tuesday night during a high-speed chase with police. That's after they say he fired his gun out the window at another driver who had just reported him. The driver ditched the truck. He ran into the woods of Beaver Lake Estates in Oregon City and made his way to Jessica and Paul Willie's home.
He had come in. Yes, I'm sorry.
You'll get why Paul is laughing in a minute. But first, the surveillance video. Police identified the suspect as 25-year-old Alexis Ibarra Gomez. You can see he's only wearing shorts, no shirt, no shoes.
The suspect broke in through the back of the house, but he didn't use this door. Instead, he walked over here, jumped up and grabbed the second-story deck and hoisted himself over.
Here's where he kicked open the door. The couple and their 2 girls weren't home, but they knew this guy was.
I get the alarm notification on my phone.
Paul called 911. For the next hour, he walked police through everything Gomez did while watching him through their security system.
The guy they're looking for in this manhunt is breaking into our house right now. Like, what?
Yeah,
how is this happening?
At one point, Gomez packed a suitcase full of the family's things, then left it behind. Meanwhile, the Clackamas County SWAT team had the house surrounded with air support overhead. Eventually, Gomez headed out the door, but not before finding something to wear.
And out of anything to choose from in the home, he found my Halloween outfit, Ricky Bobby, Talladega Nights, the full jumpsuit with the hat.
With the hat.
Yes.
In case you didn't get the movie reference, here you go.
I'm going fast! Will Ferrell.
Ricky Bobby
Takes that and my bicycle with 2 flat tires and tries to escape. And apparently that didn't work too well.
As soon as Gomez saw police, he surrendered. He now faces multiple charges. Detectives returned Paul's costume.
There you go. Ricky Bobby.
And there's the hat.
An Oregon City night
Shake and bake.
that could have ended so differently. Catherine Cook, KGW News.
All right, topping our COVID headlines this afternoon, the state of Washington ordered 230,000 kid-sized doses of the Pfizer vaccine, which are expected to arrive next week. An FDA advisory panel just recommended the vaccine for kids 5 to 11, but, and this is a big but, the CDC and FDA still have to approve emergency use before kids that age can actually get the shot. That approval, though, is expected to happen sometime next month. Starting next week, the Tigard-Tualatin School District will allow more volunteers and more visitors into its schools. The district made that decision after COVID case numbers started going back down.
We, as at Tiger Tualatin, started to say, okay, what are some of the next things that we can put onto the plate that will move us one step further along towards, a full, normal, if you will, school experience that we're used to pre-pandemic.
Volunteers will have to be vaccinated. Tiger Tualatin superintendent also says there are possibilities and plans to bring back holiday performances and also after-school activities. Meanwhile, a photographer in Camas is using her talents to capture what it took for dozens of businesses to stay open during the pandemic in Camas. John Goodwin gives us a look.
When someone's in front of my camera, I really want them to feel comfortable.
A flash, a frame,
Good.
a moment captured.
All right.
At Laura Blair's photography studio in Camas, it's not just point and shoot.
We are storytellers here with our portraits.
Each one of Laura's sessions turns into a work of art. One of her taglines is "Walls really can talk."
I've always believed that pictures speak. They are so powerful to make us feel emotions, to make us feel connected.
After a rough couple years downtown, she knows others had plenty to say too.
Everybody during the pandemic had to find ways to rework their businesses, basically, like how to survive.
Carrie Watts works at Arctana, a women's shoe and clothing boutique on 4th Avenue. She's not the only one who's seen Camas unite.
Long before the pandemic began, I realized that you don't have a business in a town this size unless you've created relationships.
Kimberly Cook owns Truly Scrumptious. She signed her lease 2 weeks before COVID spoiled business as usual. A couple doors down, Lori Cano might be the best example of resilience. Laid off at Arctana, she opened Poppy and Hawk in August.
It is my heart and soul in this story. Being here in Camas, you feel like family. And that might sound cheesy to some, but it really does.
Of course, here, that's not news to anybody. Always the photographer, Laura still wanted to capture it.
And I started thinking about what it has taken to have us still stand and to be thriving.
She calls it the Pivot Project. It's a celebration of other Camas shops who've survived the pandemic.
Find out what their pivots were, all the things that they did to stay alive, and then what their hopes were for the future.
Almost 40 businesses came to the studio to be photographed and share their stories. On November 16th from 3 to 5, this wall will speak of each image and story at a free exhibit inside the restaurant in Westra Mesa.
I don't think that my business would have been as successful had I done this anyplace else. I'm going to battle through. So if I can get through this really hard stuff, I'm going to fly in the good times.
Moments turned into memories, stories woven together to show helping one another is the best way forward.
We're still here, we're doing well, and we are one. We can't do all of this without each other, which has been very cool for a small town to be able to say.
In Camas, John Goodwin, KGW News.
Well, locally based Mercy Corps is also in our newscast this afternoon. Mercy Corps, of course, is known for its humanitarian efforts worldwide, but now the organization is also focusing on lowering its carbon footprint. So the global organization, again headquartered right here in Portland, announced it will be cutting its carbon emissions in half by the year 2030. The organization is going to do this with a number of different ways. One of them is by getting rid of all the diesel generators that it uses. Those generators are currently used to power offices in remote areas, and they also help provide needed power to devastated communities. Those areas will still get help. The generators now, though, will just be using solar energy.
We are looking increasingly at ways to deploy mobile solar solutions to humanitarian contexts so that we can use batteries and power our own operations and then power support operations for refugees, IDPs, or people affected by crisis as quickly as possible.
Another way Mercy Corps says it can cut back its carbon footprint is by reducing travel. The organization also says it's going to look at where it sources its equipment to make sure it's being built and developed in a climate-friendly way.